from the news center in high definition. This is News Channel 8 on your side today.
Good morning and welcome to News Channel 8 today. I'm Gail Guayardo.
I'm Rod Carter. Glad you could join us. It's Tuesday, February 5th. In the headlines this Tuesday morning, a mother is in jail, charged with the murder of her own infant son. Citrus County investigators say Hadley Arnett was just 6 months old when his mother, 20-year-old Brittany Arnett, violently beat him. It happened 2 Sundays ago at a home in rural Inverness. Detectives say she admitted to becoming frustrated that she'd been left alone with the child.
Sulphur Springs Elementary School in Tampa is dealing with the loss of a 3rd grade student. Classmates drew pictures and wrote messages to 8-year-old Jayla Shubar. She died after being struck by a car while crossing Bush Boulevard over the weekend. Police are calling it an accident.
And we continue following breaking news this morning involving a homicide investigation that's happening right now in Hillsborough County. We're going to have a live report with Chip Osowski on that coming up in just a minute.
First, though, let's turn things over to Lee Spann because it's chilly this morning, but don't worry, that's short-lived.
It certainly is. I mean, you're going to need that extra jacket this morning, but you will not need it later this afternoon, and you pretty much won't need it again for the rest of the week. But it is 31 degrees right now in Homosassa, 35 in Brooksville, 32 in Crystal River. Lakeland, you're a chilly 43, 48 in Tampa, 48 in Bradenton, and 45 in Arcadia. So yeah, chilly. 58 degrees though by 9 a.m. Notice that quick warm up. 68 degrees at noon with some passing clouds. Afternoon highs in the low to mid 70s, and will actually be still quite mild at 6 p.m. only at 69. Now let's check in on the roadways this morning. How's it looking out there, Leslie?
Well, I just got word of an accident out in the Bradenton area. That's Manatee County, folks. 28th Avenue right at 7th Street. Injuries involved. I'll have more on it in my next report. Meanwhile, quick reminder here, if you're used to exiting onto Lois and heading south from southbound 275, it's not going to happen anymore. They have permanently closed that southbound ramp to southbound Lois. Let's pull out the camera. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here. It's a little bit difficult to see. You can still exit north, but right here you cannot exit to the south. So what you can do is you can take West Shore Boulevard and then take a right on Cypress and come back and pick up Lois there. Eventually, you'll be able to exit on Cypress. That's a look at the roadways. Back to Rod and Gail.
All right, Leslie, thank you.
We're continuing to follow breaking news out of Hillsborough County this morning. Deputies are on the scene of a murder located on Country Square Court in Town and Country. That's just off Water Avenues, and that's where we find News Channel 8's Chip Osowski. Chip, good morning.
Well, good morning to you, Gail. Around 2 o'clock this morning, deputies received a 911 call from a woman in that apartment reporting a domestic argument. When deputies arrived on scene just 7 minutes later, they heard a commotion inside and forced entry. They found the victim, a man suffering from upper body trauma. Deputies tried helping the man, but he died at the scene. The woman has been taken in for questioning, and detectives are now working on a search warrant in order to get back into that apartment to start collecting evidence. Right now, they do not know what the relationship of the man and the woman is, nor do they know what the two were fighting about.
There was a domestic. At this point, we don't know what it was about or what it was concerning. We responded to that, at which time we found the individual wounded inside.
Authorities have yet to release the names of those involved. They said they will likely have an update much later this morning. It is interesting to note, and I've been mentioning this all morning, this is the same exact apartment complex. It was just a few doors down from where this happened, where Deputy Miguel Galarza was shot and injured after responding to another domestic argument. Gail?
Okay, thanks, Chip. And of course, we're going to check back with Chip at the end of the show.
Now to an 8 on your side crime tracker report out of Tampa. A longtime employee of a prominent South Tampa church is charged with possessing and distributing child porn. Mike Clavine worked as a maintenance employee at Hyde Park United Methodist Church for 20 years. The 61-year-old admitted to police that he has been collecting child pornography for more than 2 decades. Lead pastor Dr. James Harnish informed his congregation of the arrest while reassuring them.
Mike's work never put him in direct interaction with children, and reminded the congregation that we function with a very comprehensive child protection policy around here.
Dr. Harner says children at the church are always supervised by at least 2 adults, and Clavine never worked in that capacity.
In a developing story this morning, a small boy held captive underground for nearly a week is free following a daring raid by the FBI. Yesterday, law enforcement officers stormed the underground bunker in Alabama. Now, during the raid, agents shot and killed his captor. Jimmy Lee Dykes, the 65-year-old, had taken the child off of a school bus last week after shooting and killing the bus driver. The FBI says Dykes had a gun and negotiations had deteriorated.
At this point, FBI agents, fearing the child was in imminent danger, entered the bunker and rescued the child.
It's by the grace of God, you know, he's okay. And that was the mission of every man and woman on this compound.
The boy has been reunited with his mother. Officials say the boy was taken to the hospital where he appears to be okay. Now, coming up on the Today Show, you will hear how his mother reacted to the news with new details on how the siege ended in live reports. And that's ahead on the Today Show.
Now to a story that is all new this morning. The daughter of Senator Strom Thurmond has passed away. Essie Mae Washington Williams was 87 years old. She was the daughter of Thurmond and his family's African-American maid and had kept her parentage a secret for more than 70 years to avoid damaging Thurmond's political career. Washington Williams came forward after Thurmond's death in 2003. There was a fiery rescue in Baltimore, and firefighters became trapped in a burning building. That fire started in a 3-story building last night and quickly spread to the adjacent structures. A portion of one of those buildings collapsed, and it trapped five firefighters, and crews were able to rescue those men. They were all taken to the hospital, and they're expected to be okay.
Taking a look at some of the stories making news around the world this morning, the leaders of Britain, Afghanistan, and Pakistan met in London to discuss peace talks with the Taliban. One of those meetings was between Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai and Prince Charles. Earlier in the day, Karzai met with the British Prime Minister and Pakistani leaders. The trilateral talks are aimed at securing better relations between the countries and reducing the violence. Canada is phasing out the penny. Yesterday, the Royal Canadian Mint officially ended distribution of pennies to financial institutions. Officials say it costs 1.6 cents to produce each 1-cent coin. People can still use pennies, but the government is urging store owners to round prices to the nearest nickel for cash transactions.
The French climber known as Spider-Man visited Cuba, creating quite the scene as he did. Alain Robert scaled Cuba's Havana Libre Hotel yesterday. It took him about 30 minutes to make that 413-foot climb. Now, he has climbed much taller buildings, but Robert says that he chose this particular hotel because of its historic significance. It once served as the offices for former Cuban President Fidel Castro. 6:37, starting in just a few hours, you can get some free pancakes, and all of it's for a really good cause to help All Children's Hospital. A live report on that is coming up.
And Pasco jail inmates growing their own food, how it could impact you, coming up next.
And we've got an accident out in the Bradenton area, also an off-ramp permanently closed in Tampa. I've got all the details and live shots coming up with your True Speed traffic.
Bundle up this morning. It is chilly, so when you send the kids off to the bus stop, make sure they grab a jacket and make sure they bring that jacket home with them because it's going to be nice and mild and they probably won't be wearing it. 53 degrees early this morning, but some places are even cooler. In fact, Brenda in Inglewood checked in at 50. The good news is we warm up to 73 degrees. That's slightly warmer than yesterday. And then the warm-up continues really for the rest of the week. Don't forget, Storm Team 8, we're on the radio now on News Radio 970 WFLA. And I'll be back to let you know when temperatures climb up to near 80 degrees. It's 6:38 and you're watching News Channel 8 today.